Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director, David Riggleman. Coming up on this show, we kick off our first Access City Council of 2025, and we start our year in Ward 2. Joining us to discuss what's happening out there is our Ward 2 City Councilwoman, Victoria Seaman. Welcome back to the program. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year 2025.
Can you believe that?
It's going to be an amazing year.
I think it will be.
I do too.
It's been an interesting start to the year in many ways, but great to have you back on the show.
Great to be here.
A lot to talk about since you've been on the program last time around. You and I both live in Ward 2, northwest area of the city. You know it well. I know it pretty well too, but for those of you out there, if you're not exactly sure where Ward 2 is located, well, don't worry, we're going to show you on the map. It's basically the area that's west of the Rainbow Curve. And if you live in this area or work in this area, of course, you're in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And if you're a resident out there, then you are represented on the city council by Victoria Seaman. And I say this, that area west of the 215 is just growing phenomenally. It's incredible.
It is. It's such a beautiful area, isn't it?
It tucks up against the mountains there. And we think that, well, Ward 6 has all the growth in the city, but actually
we do too.
You do too. Yeah. Ward 2 does as well. So
definitely.
Well, we're starting a new year, Councilwoman, but we want to take a quick look back at some of the things that happened right at the end of 2024. You were busy, and this was good stuff here. We have the sights and the sounds from last month's Summerlin Area Command Christmas party. Now, this was pretty cool because tell us about this event. This is really an opportunity for the community to get together with the police officers that patrol that neck of the woods, right?
Well, it was the police officers and their family. And we found out that we need a bigger room for this event because we're going to do it again next year. It's so important that we show our appreciation for our law enforcement and their families. And this gave them the opportunity to all come together in the Summerlin Area Command and have a meal, and the kids could play, and we had games, but we need a bigger area. So we're going into the gym next year.
Where was it, Councilwoman?
This was at Veterans Memorial in Ward 2, and we're going to do it into the gym next year, move the whole thing. And we've already booked it for their next party. It was so successful that we booked for next year. And once again, it's so important to show our appreciation to them and join with them and just let them know how much we appreciate it.
You know, Councilwoman, I think to your point, we take for granted police officers, firefighters, first responders. A holiday for them is just any other work day. Someone's got to be minding the store, if you will. It's got to be working the streets. You got to be in the patrol cars. You got to be in the firehouses. And I know you come from a family of law enforcement officers and
we had many of holiday where my father would just drop in to have the meal on his break. And my husband was gone for a lot of time when we were married because he was also in law enforcement. Because their day doesn't stop. As we know, we saw what happened on New Year's. They are always, ready to protect the public.
Our city manager, Mike Jansen, his father was a New York City police officer. He talked about that as well. So many Christmases, holidays, New Year's, Thanksgivings, where Dad was at work. And
and we always worried about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I've seen my father come home injured from being a police officer. So it is so important to be around their families and let them know that we also appreciate them.
Well, that's a wonderful part. It looks like a huge turnout.
It was a huge turnout.
So much filled up the room. And again, a great way to say thank you to those officers, their families, because it's not just the police officers themselves,
their families,
the men and the women that are in uniform. It's their families that are along for the ride.
And the children.
Yeah, exactly. The children. Exactly right. So, well, it's a tradition now. So
we've started a couple of those, right?
Exactly. So that will be happening in the gym at Veterans Memorial next year. So good stuff there. And then, Councilwoman, this was really an important issue, and I wanted to make sure that we highlighted this today. This is an issue that, you've worked hard to address in our community. It's anti-Semitism. Fill us in on what happened. You were at a summit down in Southern California. it looks like it was a big gathering of folks from around the country. Tell us about the event.
So Combat Anti-Semitism is a group that brings together worldwide electeds. So the first conference that they had was in Greece.
Oh.
And I did not go to the first one, but I was invited to speak at the second one last year, which was in Florida. And then I was invited again this year. I didn't speak, but I was invited to attend. And they want to bring electeds and different people together to talk about things that we can do to combat anti-Semitism. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I came back after last year's and did the IRA definition resolution. And it's so...
Tell the viewers what that is, Councilwoman.
So it's a way that law enforcement can identify anti-Semitism. And so they have what's called the IRA definition, which actually defines what anti-Semitism is.
And what it looks like.
And what it looks like. And it's so important for states and cities and municipalities so that there's a clear definition. And we know after October 7th that we've dealt with some anti-Semitism even here. And so it's really important. These conferences are so important to learn about what's happening and things that we can do to combat. It was in the heart of Beverly Hills, and it was beautiful. We had some of our meetings over at the Holocaust Museum. So it was a great experience.
Some of the people we saw in the photos with you, they were also mayors from around the country. I think you said Miami, Florida. We saw Miami.
The former mayor of Bal Harbour, the Francisco Suarez from Miami was there to receive an award for some of his work on anti-Semitism. So it was a great conference. It was great to hear about ways that we can help.
Councilwoman, we've seen some of that, some anti-Semitism reared its head in Ward 2 not long back.
Right.
It's shocking to see it in this day and age, to see that kind of thing.
It's very shocking, and we have to stand firm against it so that people understand we're not going to accept it. Yeah. That's one of the things that didn't happen during World War II, where people, were afraid to stand up against it. And I think if we combat it now, it's much better than allowing it to fester and become something that, causes a lot of violence.
Yeah. And I think, Councilwoman, that's one of the points, is that it has to be a clear message that we're not going to tolerate this kind of hate for anyone in our community, Jewish or otherwise.
Yeah, so standing against it and letting people know that we don't tolerate any type, like you said, not just anti-Semitism, but any type of bigotry. We're not going to tolerate it. And I think that we're doing a good job of it.
Yeah. People describe Las Vegas as the melting pot of the melting pot. And that's one of the things that's made our city so great. So we've got such a diverse community, and so we want to keep it that way.
We absolutely do.
Yeah, so
we embrace all cultures and all religions. I was also at the menorah lighting at LVMPD, and I have to say, it just really warmed my heart how we embrace all religions. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about Las Vegas, for sure. So it was interesting. Yes, during the holidays, of course, we celebrated, of course, Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, and that's what we do here. It's the way our community functions. So
we even have dancing dreidels.
We do.
And rabbis.
The dancing dreidels made a lot of appearances. It seemed like everywhere I went, there they were. So they've got a very full calendar.
Yeah, I haven't enjoyed Hanukkah until I moved here and saw the dancing dreidels. Yeah, we just lit candles. We didn't, have all the dancing rabbis and dreidels. So I really, really think we really embrace everything here, and I love that about this city.
I think I even saw them at one of the Golden Knights games. One of them was riding the Zamboni around during the break as they resurfaced the ice, and so they made an appearance there too. So they're busy guys. But and then, Councilwoman, this is obviously another issue close to your heart, is providing a safe space for local animals. You've been outspoken on a number of issues affecting animals in our community, and you recently attended the Animal Foundation's yearly community meeting. This took place just before Christmas. Touched on a wide range of issues, always brings out a big crowd of people.
It did, and they gave us a great slideshow on some of the programs that they're embracing over there, which were needed. And so it was good to see. It was good to see that they're addressing concerns that the community has. And I was able to talk to them a little bit about, you know, what are they doing with animals before putting them down for behavioral problems? Will they give them an opportunity to get trained? And it sounds like they're working with trainers now. So it was a good meeting, and I was pleased to hear what they had to say.
Good. You know, Councilwoman, I think you and I both are well aware of the fact that really one thing we have a big problem with in Las Vegas is pet overpopulation. So many animals out there are not spay or neutered.
Right.
They're not microchipped. Right. And we've got backyard breeding, illegal breeding.
The backyard breeding is the biggest problem. Yeah. I mean, I think we've done a good job on helping people to get their animals microchipped.
Yep.
And I think we're doing a pretty good job. You are doing a pretty good job of getting that message out to stay and neuter.
With your community partners, yeah.
And so right now, I think our biggest problem is backyard breeding. And, you know, I think our chief, Jason Potts, is really trying to tackle that. And
we've gone after some folks already, you know. Obviously, if you're trying to sell animals, it's easy to try to track you down.
Right.
So the word's going to get out somewhere. And so, yeah, our marshals have been working on that.
They have, and I hope we'll continue to do that because there is an overpopulation, and I do believe most of it's coming from illegal breeding.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the animals suffer.
They surely do. Often they're not wanted then. You've also sponsored an ordinance about abandoning animals here, raising the fine for just, we saw this during the recession, everyone. People would maybe have their home foreclosed on, or they would walk away.
And COVID.
And just leave their animals in the house.
They're still doing it.
And it's tragic to see. Banks would go out to see the property, and there'd be an animal left in there.
Yeah, and I think the worst part is people, instead of trying to give that animal away or take it to the shelter, we're working with a lot of rescue groups that find them in the desert.
Yeah, terrible.
People are dumping them in the desert, and it's so horrible. Yeah. So, you know, I guess the message is, you know, no judgment. Just drop your animal off at a rescue.
Yes. There are a lot of great rescues out there for all different types of animals, from dogs to cats to rabbits. Councilwoman can make the list go even on from there.
Right.
But it's really important, don't abandon the animal. Plus, you can face a big fine now.
Or consequences like what happened to Reba by abandoning your animal and leaving it out in the heat. It's a felony.
Yeah, criminal charges.
And those people are facing jail time. So again, no judgment. I mean, you can even call my office. I'll come get the animal and take it to a rescue. And I encourage people to do that. Just tell me where to go get it. Yeah. Because to see those animals suffer the way that they do is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Councilwoman, while I've got you here, I've got a very cool microchip story and the importance of microchips out there. By the way, if you live in the city of Las Vegas and your pet is over 4 months old, it has to be microchipped. That's the ordinance now. We had some beautiful German Shepherd mixes running loose in our neighborhood during the holidays, and they were friendly. Came up to my wife, and we'd not recognized them, didn't know where they were from. So she brought them into our yard, and we called some neighbors. They didn't recognize the dogs either. So I called Animal Protection Services here at the city. Officer Christopher Crump came right out. The dogs were in such good shape and obviously well cared for. We were all reasonably sure these dogs had probably been microchipped. Well, lo and behold, they had been. So
and they escaped.
And they had gotten out of their house, during the holidays. I think probably what spooked them was probably the fireworks on New Year's Eve. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so Officer Crump had his microchip reader, was able to read who the dogs belonged to, and he returned them that evening.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. So
great story.
Great story, and really important. And it happened in Ward 2, by the way. It's really important to have your dog.
It is, because you don't want them to go to the shelter.
No.
So if we can get them back to their owners, it's great.
Exactly right, Councilwoman.
And we have to thank Councilman Creer for that.
Yeah,
the
former-
microchipping ordinance.
That was his ordinance, yeah.
Was
yeah.
good.
Yeah. And you're working on the abandonment, too.
Yeah.
I think that's going to get a lot of people's attention as well. So, and then, Councilwoman, I love this. You recently took a tour high above Las Vegas over the skyline. You received a surprise invite from the Metropolitan Police Department's search and rescue team. And this is great because I see this helicopter, it's flying out toward Red Rock all the time, you know, and so it passes over the house where we live, and lo and behold, you got a little lift. So were they taking you on like a little bit of a training mission? Is that what they were doing?
No, they go up regularly to surveil. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just like they go in the cars, they go in helicopters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And this was a surprise from Captain Fennis. For me to go on this helicopter ride and see exactly what they do. And we got called, we ended up going on a call where we were circling where you see that. And then we did a deep dive. And, you know, before this trip, I was afraid of helicopters, but I've overcome that now and actually would love to do it again. But they're amazing. Our Metro is amazing. They surveil. They go to calls.
See, I didn't know that. I thought they just were, the helicopters went out when they needed them to go out.
No,
So.
and that's what's so interesting about it is one of the things that I saw. So there were shots fired, and apparently in somebody's backyard. So there were several squad cars, and then we were circling it. And what I saw was so amazing is they ended up coming out of the house and were taken into custody. Mm-hmm. But had they run, the helicopter can see where they go.
Yeah.
And they can report down so that no officers would get hurt.
Yeah.
So I think that this is amazing. I loved what they do up there, and I think it saves lives. It was amazing. And then they took us on an extra tour to Red Rock, and they took us a little bit through the Strip, which was really nice.
Well, I see, like I say, it flies over Ward 2 all the time. And I know when they go on search and rescue missions out at Red Rock, people will fall, people get stuck sometimes rock climbing.
A lot.
And they're out there saving the day, literally.
Yep,
so.
They had to take us back because they got a call to go do a rescue in Red Rock.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So it was so interesting, and have a lot more understanding of what those helicopters do, and when they're flying over, a lot more respect for what they're doing.
Well, yeah, and thanks for the insight too, because I think we all learned something. I didn't realize. I thought they would go on a specific call.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so interesting. Well,
yeah.
So everybody behave. They're paying attention.
They're surveilling.
Yeah, exactly. Councilwoman, I love this. If you have a sweet tooth, then you're going to love this next topic, because one of the coolest pink box donuts just opened in Ward 2. And if you're anywhere near the area of Charleston and Rampart, Fort Apache, right in that area, wow, this place you cannot miss.
They are absolutely wonderful. I have to tell you, they also asked me who they could donate to, because it was my ward, and they do a donation to the council person's choice. And so I had them Paws on Patrol, a dog rescue, and
nice.
They handed them a check. They also gave a check to the Bishop Gorman Band, who came out and performed and didn't have to. They weren't even in school. So they give a lot.
On the break, over the break, yeah.
Yeah, so
nice.
This is a group, Judy and her husband Stephen, who actually give back to the city. Yeah. And so I'm so grateful. And we were the 14th store to open.
Yeah, and it's a big one, you guys.
It's
it is
a big one.
Big store.
And I said, well, we had to wait for 14 stores, but bonus, we get the Bagel Mania next to it. So around May, we'll be doing the ribbon cutting for the Bagel Mania.
For those out there, this is on Rampart near Charleston. It's the old Party City building there in Boca Park. And boy, great locations right next to the road there.
And those big things we were eating were an actual donut.
Wow.
Delicious.
Wow. It's the big donut to fit the big store.
Yeah, yeah. Those donuts are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, good stuff. And yeah, they're great community partners. They're always doing what they can to help.
They give back so much in the community.
So that's a great addition to Ward 2. One of your another successful business that's going strong out there. So that's good to see. But Councilwoman, I'll tell you what, at this point, we need to take a quick break. Do you mind? And we hope you stay tuned because you're going to find out some upcoming events in Ward 2. It's right after this.
If you've been affected by suicide, you're not alone. Suicide is a leading cause of death that affects millions each year. In most cases, it happens when stressful life events overload the coping abilities of someone suffering from a mental health condition. And the most common condition associated with suicide is depression, an illness that goes undiagnosed or untreated far too often. But the research is clear. Suicide is preventable if we work together. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has set a bold goal to reduce the annual suicide rate 20% by 2025. We can save tens of thousands of lives, but we need the help of everyday heroes like you. People have suffered in silence for too long, and too many families have had to weather their losses alone. You can change that. We need you to be the voice for suicide prevention, and it can be as simple as reaching out to a friend, because talk saves lives. If you're having thoughts of suicide, or if you're concerned about someone else, assume you are the only one who will reach out. You can also join hundreds of thousands across the country for our Out of the Darkness community walks and raise awareness of suicide within your community. Together, we'll bring hope to those affected by suicide and raise awareness to save lives. Learn how you can fight suicide. Visit afsp.org today.
This is what too much sounds like. This is what stress feels like. And this is what help feels like. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, we can help. Text STRESS to 211211 to find a solution.
If you smoked, this new lung cancer screening could save your life. Visit SaveByTheScan.org.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Councilwoman Victoria Seaman from Ward 2. And Councilwoman, love this little tradition that this has been going on in your ward for a little while since you've been elected. You have your Breakfast Buzz, Ward 2 Biz and Breakfast Buzz, and you have your Breakfast Buzz coming up on Saturday, January 25th. Tell everybody what the Breakfast Buzz is if they're not exactly sure.
Well, first I have to say I have been doing this since I think the second month after I was first elected in 2019. This was the first thing we started. And we used to go from restaurant to restaurant in Ward 2, but then we got so big that the restaurants really
couldn't accommodate you
couldn't
anymore.
accommodate. So we have been doing it in Veterans Memorial, which is in Ward 2, which is next to the Pavilion Pool.
And Palo Verde High School there,
For probably the last 2 years. And so we meet in the morning, we have breakfast, we break bread, we talk, people ask questions, we usually have Metro there, we usually have our marshals there, and we all answer questions. People mingle, network. It is a great tradition in Ward 2.
Yeah, and it's a free breakfast, everyone. All we need to know is that you're coming so they can have enough food. But let's tell everybody, the next one is Saturday, January 25th at Veterans Memorial. That's at 101 Pavilion Center Drive from 9 to 10, but it usually runs a little past that,
Just
right?
a little.
Yeah. And then breakfast will be served. Just need an RSVP there, and you can RSVP. We'll tell you that, give you the numbers before the end of the show, too. You always get a great turnout at those, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I always get new people. And it's just great because people get to mingle, and you know, you get different questions every month. And Metro has been wonderful. They always are so available to answer questions. It's usually the captain of the Summerlin Command.
Comes out
now
himself.
it's Fennis. It used to be Lepore. And if they can't make it, their lieutenant's always there to answer questions. And then we have our marshals, and they are absolutely wonderful.
And again, Councilwoman, you talk about community concerns, you talk about business networking, really any issue.
Any issue.
And you're there, obviously, to answer questions,
That's
too.
right.
So,
That's right.
well, it's a nice tradition. It goes back a while. As you say, back to 2019. It's still going strong. You do it once a month, Councilwoman? Is that
Once a
generally?
month.
Yeah.
We didn't do it this year in December.
Because of the holidays.
Because of the holidays. And you know, everybody's so busy during the holidays. So we just skipped. And then we're having our first one January 25th.
January 25, and then it'll be every month.
Every month.
Yeah, very good. Well, Councilwoman, it's been great to have you back on the show. We want to tell everybody out there that, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Victoria Seaman, you can call her on the phone. The number is 702-229-2420, or you can send her an email. Her team is at ward2@lasvegasnevada.gov, and you can also visit the Ward 2 website or subscribe to the Councilwoman's newsletter. You can do all that by using those QR codes that are right there on the screen. And you've got a great staff between David and Christina and Samantha, very responsive. Everybody's always jumping on it, any questions that come. And I know your folks will often route questions. Sometimes it's not really a Ward 2 issue, but they'll help them get connected with maybe it's the state or maybe it's the federal government
absolutely.
or whatever.
We have contacts everywhere. We can help with whatever. And I just want to say before we go, Happy New Year to everyone. Let's make it a good one.
Yeah.
And if you need an animal, please adopt.
Yeah.
We have as we talked earlier, we have so many animals that need a home. And, I have 5 dogs myself. I can't adopt anymore.
I know, because of the limit you set.
No, it's 6. It's 6.
Oh, it is 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but I shouldn't have said that because people are like, you need one more.
Yeah, so your husband's like, okay, I think 5 is enough.
5 is enough, but the limit is 6. So if your house is big enough, don't fear. You can have up to 6 cats, 6 dogs, whatever makes you happy.
And folks, Councilwoman mentioned this. There are so many organizations here within the city who can help you connect with the pet.
Absolutely.
Animal Foundation, Heaven Can Wait, the Nevada SPCA, the list goes on and on.
And if you are struggling to take care of your animal, there's free food. There's a spay and neuter.
Yep.
We can get you resources. Just call my office. We'll get you to the resources. But don't give up your pet if you're struggling financially. We will help you.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman. Well, everyone, please don't miss our next show beginning on January 16th with Ward 5 City Councilwoman Chandra Summers Armstrong. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Also, watch for our QR code after this show to subscribe to our newsletter. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around, and Happy New Year.